ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्णपुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदयन्तस्थो ह्यभद्राणि विदनोति सुहृत्सथां नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिके. Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 25, Text 17 and 18. Text 17. Puryastu bahyopavane divyadrumalataakule nadad vihangalikula kolahala jalashaye. Synonyms. Purya, of that town, thu, then, bahya upavane, in an outside garden, divya, very nice, druma, trees, lata, creepers, akule, filled with nadat, vibrating, vihanga, birds, ali, bees, kula, group of, kolahala, humming, jalashaye, Vidya lake. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. On the outskirts of that city were many beautiful lakes, beautiful trees, and creepers encircling a nice lake. Also surrounding that lake were many groups of birds and bees that were always chanting and humming. Purport. Since the body is a great city, there must be various arrangements such as lakes and gardens for sense enjoyment of the various parts of the body. Those which incite sexual impulses are referred to here indirectly. Because the body has genitals, when the living entity attains a right age, be he a man or a woman, he becomes agitated by sex impulse. As long as one remains a child, he is not agitated by seeing beautiful women. Although sense organs are present, unless the age is ripe, there is no sex impulse. The favorable conditions surrounding the sex impulse are compared here to a garden or a nice solitary park. When one sees the opposite sex, naturally sex impulse increases. It is said that if a man in a solitary place does not become agitated upon seeing a woman, he is to be considered a brahmachari. But this practice is almost impossible. The sex impulse is so strong that even by seeing, touching, and talking, coming into contact with, or even thinking of the opposite sex, even in so many subtle ways, one becomes sexually impelled. Consequently, a brahmachari sannyasi is prohibited to associate with women, especially in a secret place. The Shastras enjoin that one should not even talk to a woman in a secret place, even if she happens to be one's own daughter, sister, or a mother. The sex impulse is so strong that even if one is very learned, he becomes agitated in such circumstances. If this is the case, how can a young man in a nice park remain calm and quiet after seeing a beautiful young woman? Text 18. Himanirjara viputsma kusumakara vayuna chalat pravala vitapa nalini thata sampadi. Himanirjara, from the icy mountain waterfall, viputma, carrying particles of water, kusuma akara, springtime, vayuna, by the air, chalat, moving, pravala, branches, vitapa, trees, nalini tata, on the bank of the lake with lotus flowers, Sampa the opulent. Translation. The branches of the trees standing on the bank of the lake received particles of water carried by the spring air from the falls coming down from the icy mountain. Purport. In this verse, the word Hima Nirjara is particularly significant. The waterfall represents a kind of liquid human or rasa relationship. In the body, there are different types of human, rasa or mellow. The supreme mellow relationship is called sexual mellow, adirasa. When this adirasa or a sex desire comes in contact with spring air moved by Cupid, it becomes agitated. In other words, all these are representations of rupa, rasa, gandha, shabda, and sparsha. The wind is sparsha or touch, the waterfall is rasa or taste, the spring air, kusumakara is smell. All these varieties of enjoyment make life very pleasing and thus become captivated by material existence. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. I humbly bow down to all assembled Vaishnavas. Please forgive me for any misinterpretation. So the king Puranjana, who was wandering throughout this world looking for a suitable place for sense enjoyment, and he finally comes on the southern side of Himalayas, finds a city surrounded by the walls. There were nice houses, streets, all those things. And on the outskirts of the city, there were beautiful lakes surrounded by tall trees, creepers, birds, and bees. Prabhupada compares this city to be the body, and these houses, the nice houses structures, they are like the heart, and all these streets crisscross. They're like a pranavayu, the life air moving throughout this body. And the lakes, beautiful lakes, uh, is compared to a sense organ for sense enjoyment, especially sex enjoyment. So Prabhupada says in the purport that a brahmachari or a sannyasi, renounced order of life, should strictly avoid intimate association with women. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in this earthly plan 500 years ago, his manifested pastimes, after he took sannyas, he strictly avoided intimate contact with the women. Not that women are outcast, but because it's how a sannyasi should behave. A sannyasi should not intimately associate with the women. We have seen in our own movement so many sannyasis, or at least few of them, after practicing renounced order of life for so many years, and fell down by the association of women. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was showing how one should practice renounced order of life. And we know the pastimes of Chota Haridas, who was also a sannyasi at that time. simply glanced at a woman with a sex desire, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu banished him. So, in the purport, Prabhupada says that a man should not stay in a secluded place even with his mother, daughter, or sister. In Bhagavatam it says, Matra, Sastra, Duitrava, Na avikto asana bhavet. Matra, mother, sister, and daughter. Because the senses are very powerful. Now, this lakes is, as mentioned by Prabhupada, it's a place of sense enjoyment, a beautiful lake with trees and the lotus flowers like that. So we know the pastimes were the sons of Kuvera, Nalakuver and Manigriva. They were the two sons of Kuvera. They were very rich, they were very powerful, intoxicated by the wealth and the position, power. They were engaged in all the sense enjoyment. They were in the company of young women and they were drunk with wine and they were enjoying the company of the women in that lake. When Narada Muni was passing by, the women tried to cover them, but Nalakuvera and Manigriva, because of their proud of their position and wealth, did not bother to cover themselves. So Narada Muni cursed them to become trees. Then these two sons of Kuvera came to senses, prayed for forgiveness. Then Narada Muni says, when Lord Krishna appears on this earthly planet, you will be delivered. Thus, these two sons of Kubera, they became trees on the front yard of Nanda Maharaj. They were standing like Arjuna trees for 100 celestial years. That is equivalent to 36,000 years on this earthly planet. They were standing. The trees are considered to be standing naked. So when Krishna appeared and performing all these childhood pastimes, he was very naughty. So Mother Yashoda bound his belly with a rope. Krishna was breaking the pots filled with butter and yogurt. So Mother Yashoda bound his belly with the rope, tied to a wooden mortar. So Krishna dragged this mortar in between these tall Arjuna trees. When the mortar got stuck, he pulled with the force, and the trees fell, and these two young demigods, Nalakuver and Manigriva, they appeared, and with folded hands they offered prayers. In this way, the sons of Kuvera were delivered. So sometimes the punishment by a pure devotee like Narada Muni is also a purificatory process. Uh, so one who is determined to make progress in the spiritual path should strictly refrain from sense enjoyment. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Atmendriya priti vancha thare balikama, Krishnendriya priti cha dare premanam. Indriya, the senses, if I use it for my own sense enjoyment, then it is kama, lust. But if the senses, the same indriyas are used for serving the Lord, to please the Supreme Lord Krishna, then it is love of God. So, Srila Rupa Goswami says, it is quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Kamadinam Katina Katida Palita Durnidesha. Tesham jata na mayi na karuna na trupa na pashanti ustirjayetan atayadupate sampratam labdhabuddhi tvam ayata sharanam abhayam mam nyung atmadasya. It says, I have been serving Kama Adi, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha. They are my masters. I am their servant. I am serving these masters, and these masters have no mercy upon me, and I am not ashamed to serve them. But lately, I got some little bit of intelligence. I have come to the lotus feet of Krishna, and then I'm not serving. I have given up serving all these other masters, Kama, Krodha, and Lobha. Uh, Now I am taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, which is Abhayam, fearless. So please engage me in your service. In this way, a devotee prays to the Lord. Uh, Narottam Das Thakur also says, Kama Krishna Arpani. Kama means the desires must be directed towards Krishna. In this way, one can make his life successful. I'll stop here. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Please forgive me any misinterpretation.